Welcome back, everybody. Today we are going to get started with Scratch. My plan is to get you acclimated with the layout and how things work, get a character programmed to do some movement, and possibly explore the background library that they have. So let's get started. First thing I'd like to do is make myself a little bit smaller and remind you that your username should be your first name initials, second name initial, your month, and the date of that month. So NA May 5th, May 10th would be this person's birthday, and this is their username. And if that didn't work, I had to add two more digits, which would be the year you were born. So here's an example right here. First initial, last initial, November 17th, and this person was born in 2006, 06. So if you signed in already, then you should see that information populate in the fields. Password will be your Google password that you use to get into your Chromebook every day. So I'm going to go back over here to Scratch and we're going to get started. So if you face this screen, you want to click sign in. Again, your stuff should appear in here, your username and password, because of your digital footprint. But if not, you'll need to enter that. So I am going to use this student's account to get started, and I'm going to sign in. All right, here we go. So I'd like to go through the basics here with you. First of all, this folder here next to your name will have all of your projects in it. Anytime you start any kind of project, there it will be. So we don't need to go in there yet because we haven't started anything yet. But one thing I do want to make sure that you are aware of is right here. You must make sure you are signed in at all times, because you can work on Scratch without being signed into your account, but it will not save it and you won't be able to access it again. So since we're starting today, make sure that you are signed in. That's very important. We're just going to go right over here to create, and we will open up a blank document here. So I am going to move myself out of the way again. All right, so I'm going to go over the layout. I would like you, first thing to do is you need to sign in, and you will need to refer back and forth to this video, this tutorial. This is how you're going to learn how to do this. So you need to have this tab open, this video, and you would have Scratch open as well. Very, very important. Use these tutorials to pause, rewind. If something doesn't go right, it will be in the video. All right, so up here is your title. Let's make this say game. Simple as that, game, because we are going to make a target game. So I'll push enter. We have the game. That way we can tell with a list of things that we start what is what. Okay, let's go over here and check out the layout. What we have here is three sections that we'll be working with. One, you have your blocks, and they are divided into different categories. So I don't expect you to memorize these where each block is. You will just have to kind of figure out where it might be and then start looking for it. But with this tutorial, that'll help as well. So anything with motion, movement is going to be in this motion block. If I click looks, this color, you have anything that shows appearance, whether that's a switching a costume, which means a different version of it, or it is saying, a text bubble, changing appearance in any way. All right. Next is sound, and all those sound blocks are in there. We will definitely dive into sound in a day or two. See, if I scroll down, it will go to the next category as well. So, anyway, events are very important. Events are what start a code string. So you can see that there's a bump on the top. That way, you cannot put a piece above that. These are always going to start a code string. So we will go to those a lot. Mainly this one, when flags clicked, because in Scratch, the flag is the go button. And you can assign keys to do certain things, which we will, etc. All right, controls, those are your wait times, your repeat loops, forever loops, if then statements, which are very common in programming. It's a cause and effect relationship. So if one thing happens, it causes something else to happen. And we will use that quite often. Sensing deals with being sensitive. So touching something else will make a reaction. You can see that this shape fits into these if then statements. So we'll be placing those in there. All right. Operations, we will dabble in that in a few days. Variables, we will be doing that. And we won't be creating our own blocks for this unit. We just won't have time. So what I would like to do is let's get started. Go to events, click events. And what you do is you drag over the blocks into the middle. That's where the code goes. So I'm going to drag this over. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And you can if you want, but you don't have to. All right. So you drag this over. This is where all of our coding will be. Some characters will have lots of code strings in them. Then over here will be the game itself or the project you're working on. So we are going to deal with this cat a little bit. All right. Since we're on that subject with the cat in this workspace over here, what we have here behind the scenes, and you can't see this, is a plot system. It's like in math, a graph. You have, if you look right here, you have an X and a Y. X goes from left to right, Y goes up and down. If I grab the cat, which you can do, you'll notice and let go, the X goes negative, and then it goes over here to positive. So you can enter these coordinates, and you will at certain times. The Y goes up and down. So in all programming, you tell characters and objects where to go in particular. There are blocks that will contain that for us. Okay, so the y-axis goes from negative 180 to 180, which is 360. The x-axis goes from negative 240 to 240. So that's 480. So keep that in mind. And let's make this cat move. Move it, slide it over to the left. And then go to motion and just bring over a basic move. And you need to snap these together. You can see what happens there. It kind of gives a shadow and it snaps into place. So if I click the flag, which is right here, this will go 10 steps. But as I said, the x-axis is from negative 240 to 240. 10 steps is not much. So watch. Boop. Just boop. That's it. Okay? All right. So what you're going to be doing is pausing this video and opening another tab and entering these blocks as we go. That's the way we have to do this since we're not together. All right. So to get more steps so it keeps going, you could, up the number. All right. So when you up the number, anything there's a white oval, you can enter data in there. If I make that like 55, it will go farther and it will appear to go faster. The higher the number in the move steps, the faster these things go. So watch, if I click the flag, it goes a little bit further and appears to go faster. All right, I'm going to change that back to, I don't know, 20. All right, so we are going to end up automating this so this cat goes back and forth and back and forth. So if I go to control, you could put a repeat. And if I put a repeat here, then the cat's going 200. So 20 times 10. All right. Now, for our purposes here, we're not going to do that. I'm going to take that out. And to delete a block or a series of blocks, what you do is you drag them to the left, where you got them, and let go, and it disappears. What I want you to do is get a forever and snap it into place. Now, do not put this move in and try it yet, because what will happen is the cat will just keep going forever. It'll do what you say. That's the thing with programming. It does what you say. So before we add this in, what I'd like you to do is find, I think it's in motion. Yes, it is. Find a block down a ways. It's at the bottom here. It says if on edge bounce. It's in motion. If on edge bounce, and drag that over. And then put the move before it. Yeah, before it. Now, what will happen is it will go, and when it hits an edge, it will turn around. All right? So, before we do that, I'm going to tell you right now, watch. If I click it, it'll work, but the cat's going to flip upside down because that's the default. I hate that, but that's the way it is. What you do is you go in and you click the word direction. You're going to have to do this every time you bring in a new character. Click direction, and you have to click this where my mouse is, left, right, because this is the default. It'll flip. If you click this, it will flip and turn around. So I've done that. Now I'm going to test it again. And it's working. Great. I'm going to stop it. All right, remember, you have to click the flag. All right, excellent. Now, we are going to do a lot more with this cat, and in fact, we may end up switching it out for another character. But I want to show you something about this cat, and it applies to several other, what they call sprites or characters. Sprites is what the website calls them. If you click costumes over here, you will see there are 2 costumes associated with the cat. That means, and you can see why, because if I go back and forth, look at the legs and arms, it will show animation or movement. And if we program it that way, it will do that. Okay? Now, as you can see, we have 2 costumes, so let's take advantage of that. Go back to code real quick. Click this code right here. And go to looks. There's a block that says next costume. I want you to put that after the move. So what'll happen is it'll move 20 steps, switch costumes, and do that forever. It'll just keep on doing that over and over and over again. So let's try it out. Test it. All right. Now his legs and arms are going a little nuts, but that's okay. And I want to stop it. So as you can see, if the sprite has more than one costume, and this one does, then you can add that block next costume to show animation. Okay, cool. In order to mess with those legs that are going kind of crazy, what you can do is go to control, and there's a weight block first. Take that block and put it after the move. Now, 1 second in real life is not much. However, in the programming world, it is a lifetime. So watch when I test this. It's like slow-mo. So we can put anything in here we want for the weight. So I'm going to get rid of the 1 and type in like 0.3 and see, push enter, and see what that does. That's a little bit better. You can see moving okay. I still don't love that. So I'm going to make it smaller. 0.1. Let's see if that works. Yeah, that's much better. So what I'm doing here is iterating. I am testing, fixing, and improving. Testing, improving. It's part of the design process, as you might remember in my lab when you came in as 7th graders. All right, so we've got this thing moving. I think what we're going to do is stop for now, and then we'll continue with another video after that. So stay tuned for the second video.